How can we make karate blocks work in the real world? So one of the biggest criticisms that karate has is that the blocks don't work against real attacks, and they are only ever demonstrated against karate techniques, you know, stepping punches, oizukis, and this kind of thing. Another thing I've seen in the comments before is how comes this block is not used in kumite or in sparring? And I'm going to go over why that is in this video and give you some different ideas to maybe have a slightly different approach to your blocking or your karate techniques that will bring a little bit more effectiveness to them. So the biggest misconception, I think, is that the action happens at the end, that this is the connection here. The connection point is at the end of the block. Whereas I like to think of all the action happening in the center. So as we come across the middle, that's when the block is, or the defense is happening, here in this middle space. Okay, so this is where I'm doing the work. This is the finish point, in the same that it is with a punch. You know, the punch would land and make connection before we complete that extension. And then when we go over this, I'll demonstrate some techniques here, and then we're going to see why these finished blocks don't happen in kumite, because the action, like I said, happens in this middle space of our body. So before we go into that, I just want to remind you again that we have our Patreon channel, which covers topics like this and others, and delivers exclusive content weekly. Over there, it's myself and Nat Hearn instructing different videos, answering requests, and basically giving you as much as we can in terms of our knowledge. Just check out the link in the description of this video to take a look at that, and we will carry on. So as I was saying, the action happens in the middle, and what we often see in traditional karate dojos is that the blocking emphasis is at the end. So if Nat comes in and delivers a punch, it's often delivered with an oizuki, like a very basic oizuki technique, and then the action happens at the end here. So what I want to have him is a little bit closer range. So we're working from here. Hands are going to be up, more like a self-defense or a street situation, if you want to call it that. He's going to throw the straight cross to the jaw. That's it, right there. So instead of me trying to block with an agyuki, a finished agyuki, I'm never going to get there. If he snaps that in and out fast, I've not got time to bring this block up like this, okay? So what I want to think about is as that comes in, that's my initial action. And that is the middle of our agyuki. Now we're going to move into our partner this way. Okay, he comes in again, we parry that across, and we have our uchuki, and we can work from here. Okay, so the action is happening slowly. The action is happening in the middle. That's our first movement, okay, that kind of flinch reaction. We're here, hands go up, and I quickly react. Okay, then I'm here, and I can make actions from this position. This applies to all the blocks, really. You know, he goes with another kind of strike or something. I'm making this action here. There's my shutoki, and then I can deliver a counterattack from that position. Rather than trying to block him with a shuto there and get around him. It's never going to happen. I'm trying to make two movements in the space of his one. Another idea then is maybe it's not to a strike, but it's more to like an extension. So he extends his arm out to grab onto my jacket or something, or to my throat or something like this. Okay, so he's giving me his arm. And the reason that I teach this way is because most often, as we just saw with Nat there, he's just going to snap that punch back. So for me to try and catch that is very difficult. In fact, it's not going to happen, right? I may be able to parry as he sends that punch in, but I've lost the contact after, okay? So I prefer the idea where he reaches out to grab me, and he's obviously putting some weight forwards onto that. So if I can try and get that grab before he connects, he's still coming forwards for that extension. That's when I can maybe take control of that arm and do something myself. So then how do we apply that to kumite? Because again, as I said, the question is that it's not done in kumite. You know, if we're sparring and in competition, you never see an agyuki. He comes in kizamizuki, you never see agyukis done. Because again, it's too slow. So maybe he comes here, it's a slip like this, okay? This is our agyuki, this kind of idea, yeah? A chudan gyakuzuki from here. It's not this action, bringing the arm around, it's just that contraction at the end. That contraction that we have learned from doing our big kion actions here. Okay, so we're understanding the body mechanics through doing our kion. Okay, so I'm coming around and getting the body used to connecting with the arm. As we come to kumite now, after many repetitions of doing that kind of strict formal kion exercise, now all I need to do is understand that connection with the body. So as he comes in for that gyakuzuki, that's my connection. There. And then we can come back in this way. This is the work we want, okay? So this is an approach we can then take for our ideas in kata. If we're looking at kata applications, we can start to sort of understand the kata a little bit better, I think, when we are making the action happen in the middle of the movement. Okay, so not just making a shape at the end, but the action happens on the way to the end of that technique. If we take, for example, Heian Sandan or Jion, we have this action like an Uchuki and Giran right together. So as Nat's making, again, a grab or something, I'm making this action here and I'm striking. Okay, so the action happens in the middle of the middle of the technique. As he reaches forwards, I'm getting that connection here, as we do in the kata from here, Heian Sandan or Jion. So it's there, one. There's that connection there. Boom. And then we have our finish point. Okay. So something to consider in your karate, try to think of it a little differently. The term uki, as in agi uki, soto uki, uchi uki, means to receive. It doesn't actually translate to block. Okay, blocking would be a little bit more like him throwing a hook or something and me just covering up and blocking the technique. Okay, I'm not blocking as such. I'm receiving and rediverting these techniques as they come in. So I hope that's been helpful. If it has been, please give me a subscribe on this channel. Like the video, drop me a comment if you enjoyed it, and let me know if there's anything else you'd like to see. And don't forget to check out that Patreon channel as well if you want to see some more exclusive content there. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.